Hi everyone, welcome to Time Laboratories. This week we're going to do a custom blend video for you and kind of talk you through how to make your own blends using essential oils. I'm Philip Shepard. I manage the store for Time Laboratories here in Pocatello, Idaho, and I really enjoy working with essential oils and aromatherapy. Today we're going to take a step away from the clinical use of aromatherapy and look more towards the emotional support, mental support, and spiritual support that essential oils can provide. It's a little bit more of an artistic approach to essential oils and aromatherapy versus a scientific approach, but there is still a little bit of science involved in the process as well. So when I go to make a custom blend for somebody, the best way to start out is to have a conversation with this person and to find out what exactly they're looking for in supportive ways from the essential oils. So the example I'm going to use today is a friend of mine who moved to a new city a little while ago, moving to a whole new state, whole new city, changing up their life quite a bit, and they were looking for something that could help support during that transition. So I wanted to make a blend that would promote positivity during the stressful time of moving, while also providing comfort during a major relocation. It takes a little bit of research to know which oils can be recommended in different situations. So I'm going to show you some of the references I use almost daily. First book, one of my favorites, is called Aromatherapy for Healing the Spirit. It's a guide to restoring emotional and mental balance through essential oils by Gabriel Moje. This book is great. It talks a lot about Eastern medicine, ancient Chinese medicine, yin and yang. It goes through pulse points and massages, and it also goes A to Z through all of the essential oils and talks about their properties, their traditional and their spiritual uses. So this is a great book where I get a lot of information for these types of blends. Another book that I really enjoy reading is called Aromatherapy in the Mind, The Psychological and Emotional Effects of Essential Oils by Julia Lawless. One of the things I love about this book is it really goes through an in-depth history of the art of aromatics, and it talks about different cultures, religions, and philosophies throughout history that can be associated with aromatherapy. And it also goes through a number of very popular essential oils and lists their properties, their scent profiles, and their effect on the mind and the emotions. And of course, I can't go through anything without referencing The Complete Guide to Aromatherapy, Volume 1, 3rd edition by Salvador Battaglia. This kind of is just the book that I use to fill in all the blanks I might have about an essential oil, because it really is very thoroughly organized on all the properties, the history, the research. It's all in there. So those three books are what I use. Based on the information I can find in there, I'll select 3 to 4 essential oils that would be appropriate to the blend I'm approaching. So with this blend, for moving, for relocating, the first essential oil I saw that kind of seemed to be appropriate was Basil. And according to these authors and the research I've done, Basil clarifies thoughts. It's good for mental fatigue, helps clear doubt and anxiety, inspires enthusiasm, and it's particularly good when you're at a crossroads in life. And I think when you're moving, that's a great example of needing some extra help. Basil has a very kind of spicy, herbaceous fragrance that can be very strong, so I'm anticipating that I'm going to be using lower dilutions of this oil in the blend. The next essential oil I'm looking at is Cedarwood, and I'm using a Cedarwood Atlas from Morocco. It's balancing, it's grounding, promotes a calm and meditative state. We could all use that to better receive healing energy. It relaxes the over-analytic mind and inspires optimism, strengthens the will in time of crisis, and it's useful for culture shock or when feeling out of one's element. You're in a new location, you're in a new city, you can maybe feel out of your element or a little culture shock. Cedarwood's helpful there. To be honest, I use cedarwood in a lot of oils for emotional and mental balancing because it tends to just have a really good effect of grounding people and providing comfort. And then the final oil is one that I don't use very often and I'm not super familiar with. It's myrtle flower, and it balances masculine and feminine energies and provides protection during major life transitions, promotes harmony, and stimulates memories. Protecting during major life transitions seems like a really good effect of an oil during a move. So that's why I kind of zeroed in on this oil of myrtle flower. And stimulating memories is probably a good thing to do while you're in that transition process. So you can kind of take note of the memories you want to bring with you to your new home. Myrtle flower has a almost lemony, astringent smell to it. It's very green, it's very bright, very fresh. I'm enjoying it, but I don't use it very often. So we've got our 3 oils here. We want to use these 3, but we don't necessarily know which ratio we're going to use them in. So I'm going to walk you through how I do that. In this little beaker, I've got about 10 milliliters of jojoba oil, golden jojoba, and it's going to end up filling this 10 milliliter roller ball. So what I'm going to do with this blend is make a personal roller that they can keep with them, pull out in times of uncertainty or stress, and kind of center themselves and meditate with this aroma, knowing that they can handle anything life throws their way. So let's get started in making this blend. I'm going to work a drop at a time so I don't over pour or over blend anything and regret my decisions. So we're going to start with 1 drop of each. As I add the essential oils, I'm going to take care not to mix my lids because you don't want to cross-contaminate your oils. And I'm going to keep my notepad handy and keep track of how many drops of each essential oil I'm going to use. So we've got the myrtle flower first. The trick here is getting just 1 drop when that's what you intend. So here we go. 1 drop of myrtle flower is in. The goal is 20 drops. That'll be about a 10% dilution in this jojoba oil. Next is the basil. And we're using a low methyl chavicol basil, so it's a little bit more safe for the average user. 1 drop of basil. Basil is also a really good digestive supporter. And cedarwood. Cedarwood should drop a little slower. It's a little bit thicker oil. And we've got I got 2 drops of cedarwood in there, so I'm going to take that note. Sometimes that happens. So we got myrtle flower, 1 drop, basil, 1 drop, and cedarwood, 2 drops. I'm just going to kind of carefully let those oils mix a little bit. As this blend sits, it'll get a little bit more strong in aroma, but for our initial blending process, so I can smell the basil, of course, and the myrtle. The cedarwood, actually, considering there's 2 drops in there, it's been overpowered by the other oils. So I'm glad I ended up with 2 there. I'm going to hold off on the basil for now, and I'm going to add 1 more drop of myrtle flower. And that got 2 in there, so I'm going to mark that. And I'm going to skip the basil and I'm going to do 2 more drops of cedarwood because I couldn't tell the last time there was any in it. This can be a lengthy process of trial and error. I encourage you not to use really precious oils when you're starting out in this process because you would hate to end up with a really stinky blend that contains a lot of expensive oils. Okay, the myrtle flower is there, and the basil, which is still plenty. Although I do want it to be a little warmer, so I'm going to do 1 more drop of basil. And then I'm going to go ahead and really commit to the cedarwood and add 2 more drops for a total of 6 drops of cedarwood. If you're keeping good notes, you should be able to keep track of all of this. So right now I've got 6 drops of basil, or 6 drops of cedarwood, 2 drops of basil, and 3 drops of myrtle. And that's a total of 11 drops, which is about halfway of where I want to be. So yeah, the basil is very strong. the myrtle flower is very sharp. So I think what I'm going to do is my final 9 drops, I'm just going to commit to the cedarwood and have this be a nice kind of cedarwood strong blend. So I need 9 more drops to reach my 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. So the final result is 15 drops of cedarwood, 2 drops of basil, and 3 drops of myrtle flower. Now, this will meld and change scent over time. So I do encourage you to let it sit a full day before you're really trying to analyze it anymore. And now we know that we've got our drop ratios. In the future, if we end up loving this blend and we want a large batch of it, what you'll do is you'll take your drop of oil per total drops and create a percentage there. And then based off that percentage, you can increase the sizes into milliliters versus drops, and you'll get the same percentage of oils and a similar fragrance. Now that we've got that blended together, we're going to go ahead and just transfer it into this roller bottle and then offer it to our friend for their support and their benefit. Offer them some suggestions about how to use it on their pulse points, on their chest, and hopefully it'll bring them some comfort and strength during a time of stress, like moving. I call this blend the Quest blend just because it felt right to me, and I'm so glad you were here to share it with me today. If you have any questions, feel free to email us or call us at our store, and hope you have a wonderful day.